A place I can hide to help me escape them. Help me escape the poison inside.
Yeah, I do relate. Things don't go the way you think they should, then you start to lose your faith. Wonder what you'd ever change if you could go back. Caving under pressure, causing questions that you'd never ask. That's a long path down the wrong road, leaving room for the doubts. Feed my soul to the crows. Another lethal dose.
The following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so true, so true. It does not matter who the host is. What matters is exactly who you are. That's exactly always been the important part of what the hell's going on around here. Anyways, today is Tuesday, January the 31st. So yes, it is the last day of the month. It is day numero 31 of the year, which I always feel like it's redundant to say that because you do know how to count. And there's only 334 days left to go. Yep, that's it. 334 is what the number is, the magic number of what's going to be happening next. So don't worry about that. Anyways, we are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Oh, yes, hanging out with the friends at Radio Big as we get to do the things that we do there and here. And, of course, that is part of the home of iHeartRadio. Anyways, if you want to interact with the show, it's a simple process to do. All you have to do is go to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com. And then if you want to do the visualization side of this thing, is all you do is go to safety.fm or radiobig.fm, and you can click on the section that says Visual Radio. That's Visual Radio. That's Visual de Radio. Yes, Visual de Radio. And that will get you moving and grooving inside of there for you to be able to do everything you want to do and probably then some. So that's some options for you to do that. So let's start talking about what we do around here, because I think that might be important for some. We talk about safety in the news and safety things that are going on inside of the worldo. And then we bring in some professional broadcasters for them to talk about what the hell is going on, because that is important. What does this button do? Oh, wow. That was a very nice buildup. Okay, so, so we do that, and we talk to some pros, and they talk about everything that's going on inside of that particular side of the world. And then on the other side of the equation here, we talk about just some general things that are happening inside of the world of SAFTA. Yes, of safety, and then some things that are happening just in the world, period. So we'll talk about all those things. And that's pretty much sums up the show. This way you have something topical of what the hell's going on, and then you can get to come back and do the things that you do. Yeah. Doing the things you do, that fun stuff. So keep that in mind. So let's start talking immediately of what's trending and what the hell we're going to be doing. So here you go.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
So does that mean that Rated R Safety Show was trending, or does that mean Rated R Safety Show trend? I don't know. Always confused by some of the things that happen on this side of the equation as we are talking. So let's get into it immediately. And a high-speed chase following a stolen cop car and a creepy spat of arrow shooting that took place in St. Louis. We'll talk about that when we get into the shit list. What else? The head of TikTok is headed to Capitol Hill, and Speaker Kevin McCarthy is headed to the White House to discuss the debt ceiling. So we'll talk about that. Insiders reveal Lisa Marie Presley's final weeks, and Britney Spears wants fans to know that she's still doing fine. We don't have to talk about that, but we can reference it. And then some other things that I saw in the circulation of stuff. There were some big combos about one of Bridgerton's will be in season 3, and Anna Faris bears it all for avocados. Yeah, bears it all for avocados. You know, when you start thinking about that, you go, what kind of combo is this? What kind of conversation is all that? So there you go. That's what's going on inside of there. So we'll bring in the pro broadcasters. You can, like I said, watch this here. You can watch it you can take a listen to it on the Radio Big app. You can listen to us on iHeartRadio. We will become a versionality of a podcast at some point, and you can take a listen to us on Safety FM. Here's the funny part. I didn't realize this until a few days ago, that some people consider Safety FM fire management, safety for fire management. Didn't realize that until somebody reached out and was asking some questions. And then, of course, I was talking and asking some questions to some other things that I know. Yes, because these days you can't even say other people, because sometimes it's not people, it's things. I talk to things. I talk to the Internet of Things. I talk to the Internet of Things probably more than I talk to anybody else, which is just scary within itself when you say that out loud. But anyway, so yeah, they were talking about safety and fire management. And I was like, oh, I get it now. I get some of the convolution of what's going on. Anyways, as you can see, I am just yapping to yap. So let's get into the news, because here it is.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
NBC News Radio, I'm Mark Mayfield. 3 Memphis EMTs are being fired over the death of Tyree Nichols. The Memphis Fire Department said the first responders violated multiple department policies when they were at the scene earlier this month. The department said the EMTs responded to a call of a person pepper sprayed, and they did not perform an adequate patient assessment beyond the pepper spray effects. 5 Memphis police officers were fired and later charged with second-degree murder in the death of Nichols during what started as a traffic stop. 2 others were relieved of duty. The U.S. will not be sending any F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. Brian Shook reports.
President Biden was asked that question after returning to the White House Monday and responded no. He didn't elaborate or say the U.S. might in the future. The Ukrainian president recently said his country needs more weapons just days after the U.S. and Germany agreed to supply modern tanks to Kyiv. I'm Brian Shook.
The Justice Department won't provide details to House Republicans about the special counsel's investigation into President Biden's handling of classified documents. Lisa Taylor has more.
The House Judiciary Committee, now led by Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, demanded the agency turn over all documents and communications related to the investigation, including correspondence with Biden's attorneys and the appointment of a special counsel. The DOJ declined that request, stating it will withhold that information until its investigation is complete. Attorney Merrick Garland earlier this month appointed a special counsel in an investigation into classified records found in Biden's former office and Delaware home. I'm Lisa Taylor.
And 4 pending sex abuse cases against R&B singer R. Kelly are being dropped. During a news conference, State Attorney for Cook County, Illinois, Kim Fox, announced her office no longer plans to pursue the state-level cases. In 2021, Kelly was convicted on racketeering and sex trafficking charges and was sentenced to 30 years in prison. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. US President Joe Biden has rejected calls to send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. At least 87 people are now known to have been killed in a suicide bomb blast in Peshawar in Pakistan. The UK economy will perform worst of any major economy in 2023, according to the IMF, and a citizens group in Tokyo is sounding the alarm over possible contamination from a US Army base affecting local residents.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a
face for radio.
Rated R Safety Show.
On Monday, President Biden celebrated a major project funded by his bipartisan infrastructure law, replacing the Baltimore and Potomac Tunnel.
This is a 150-year-old tunnel. You wonder how in the hell it's still standing.
It runs Amtrak trains between Washington, D.C. and New York City and is considered to be the largest rail bottleneck on the Northeast Corridor. While speaking in Baltimore, Biden said his infrastructure law will contribute more than $4 billion to rebuild the rundown tunnel. The move will create an estimated 20,000 construction jobs. The new tunnel will be named in honor of Marylander Frederick Douglass. Former President Trump is suing journalist Bob Woodward over interview recordings that Trump alleges were released without his permission. The lawsuit, filed Monday in Florida, notes the interviews were conducted during the last 2 years Trump was in office. In the suit, the former president said he consented to being recorded only for Woodward's 2020 book titled Rage. He claims the journalist broke a promise by later using the interviews for an audiobook. Trump is seeking nearly $50 million in damages. Charges are set to be officially filed today against Alec Baldwin for his role in the shooting on the set of Rust in New Mexico. Lisa G. reports.
Baldwin and armorer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed are being charged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Baldwin fired a prop gun on the set last year that contained live rounds, striking and killing Hutchins, while also injuring the film's director. The Santa Fe District Attorney said a statement will be released Tuesday by email when the charges are filed. Lisa G., New Mexico.
And hockey legend Bobby Hull is dead at the age of 84. He was a 12-time All-Star selection and scored 610 goals in his career. He spent most of his career with the Chicago Blackhawks and Winnipeg Jets before playing his last season with the Hartford Whalers. Hull lifted the Stanley Cup once in his storied career with Chicago in 1961. Mark Mayfield, NBC News Radio.
Radio. Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobilemobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobilemobile.io. That's mobilemobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Hey, Dad. Your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad. Your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey. Why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the Bush Fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow! Awesome! Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
It's a new year, but it's feeling harder than ever to find and hire qualified people you need, especially for small businesses. That's where LinkedIn Job comes in. They make it easier to find people you want to talk to faster and for free. You can create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of the most qualified people. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering qualified hires versus leading competitors. I have to tell you that we have used LinkedIn Jobs to even find some of the people that we have here at Safety FM. LinkedIn Jobs can help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your jobs for free on linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to tell them that you heard it right here on Safety FM.
Prepare yourself.
We are now being distributed on iHeartRadio. Listen on iHeartRadio app. Radio Big.
Okay, let's go.
Safety never sounded so terrible.
Rated R Safety Show.
There you go, 17 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this Tuesday. Yep, Tuesday. That's what's going on. That's what we're doing. That's how we're hanging. That's how we're banging. And let's move forward. Just in case of you're lost, this is the Rated R Safety Show. Yes, as we are coming across the multiverse of different things that we're on, that is for sure. So let's talk right away about some of the cosas that are going on out there. Anyways, getting into the shit list right away, more bad news for egg prices. A fire of one of the biggest commercial farms in the country destroyed a coop that housed an estimated 100,000 chickens on Sunday. The blaze broke out in the Hellendale Farms in Connecticut and took more than 100 firefighters from then about 16 local stations to quell the fire. No word yet on what caused the fire in the first place. This is all coming from NBC Connecticut. So there you go. Just when you think that you could get ready for Easter and do your little Easter eggy stuff, well, apparently that ain't going to be happening anytime soon. In regards to that, not that I would say, you need to be saving eggs in January for potential March-April date. Because, of course, with, Easter Sunday always rotating, I never know what month it's going to be until my wife tells me, hey, it's about to happen. It's like, oh, okay. I guess we need to get ready. Anyways, take a listen to this. Fire Festival fraudster Billy McFarland wants to help you make your business go viral. He's charging $1,800 for a 1-hour consultation. The business is part of the new PERT business. It sounds like pirate, really, if you really think about it, which is promising some virtual tropical island experience. By the way, you can buy the custom video message from McFarland on Cameo app starting at $69. So, let's see. Let me kind of go through this real quick. If you think about this, you can go viral. Doesn't mean you have any kind of content or context besides, when you get there, you got a lot of promotion stuff, and then here's the piece. Stuff to think about.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
So take a listen to this. Speaking of lighting money on fire for a moment, Twitter made its first major debt payment late last week, paying $300 million towards its more than $12 billion in debt load so that it has. So here's my question, and I mean, don't get me wrong. A company was sold from public sector to make it private sector, and then there was the debt that was carried with it, why not just buy the thing and saying that you're not taking the debt with it? I mean, I don't know. Not that I go around and buying companies, but I've been involved in transactions where that occurs where, hey, we're just buying out, all your stuff, your name, your titling, and all that stuff. And, yeah, you get to keep the debt and all the taxes you didn't pay. Oh, okay, sorry. Maybe that's getting a little bit too deep. So just some stuff to think about. I don't know. What do you think about this? Would you, if you had the money and you paid $44 billion for a company, would you also take their $12 billion in debt? I mean, I don't know. Sounds a little crazy. Anyways, take a listen to this. On the heels of the deep price cuts on new Teslas, Ford announced nearly a $6,000 discount on SUV Mustang Mach-E electric crossover. The discount will apply to customers who are waiting on but have not yet received their vehicles. Ford expects to ship about 130,000 EVs this year. Last year, they showed just shy of 40,000 vehicles. I swear that that Mach-E, that it must be a lot of them must have been unloaded in the area where I'm close to, because there seems to be all kinds of them over here. And I always think it's kind of an interesting one. So you're using that Mach-E Mustang from Ford, but it's an SUV. And I don't know if you're familiar or not with the Mustang car previously, but it sure as shit was not an SUV back in the day. That's something to think about. So I don't know. What do you think about this when I say this out loud? Or do you go, I really don't care. I'm just looking for a new electric car. And that's okay. You can do that too. Anyways, Atlanta area police had a wild night on Saturday after a traffic stop went off the rails. An officer exited his patrol car to perform a routine traffic stop while talking to the driver. Another man, having nothing to do with the stop, got into the patrol car and drove off. The officer called and left his colleague, left the colleague and went into pursuit. The thief soon after he flipped the car into the train tracks. Yeah, I said flip the car onto the train tracks. The train barreling down on him. The same officer is pursuing him and rushed to pull him from the stolen vehicle just moments before the train hit it. And get a load of this. Between the body cam footage and the aerial footage taken by the air support chase, the whole thing was filmed. So you can actually find all of this online if you want to do that. I mean, it just gets weird. It gets weird in regards of the things that happen here. It's like, listen, I understand that, sometimes you get a little antsy and you want to do some stuff that you think that it might be cool when you're thinking and planning out on doing it. I don't know if that's the greatest idea. Number one, stealing a car doesn't sound like a great idea. Flipping a car doesn't sound like another great idea. And then when you put in the combination of the whole thing that you did it with a police vehicle, probably not the greatest day of stuff to do if you really think about it.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
So I'm sure at this point you've heard of stray bullets causing damage and injury, but what about stray arrows? Yep, you heard me there. St. Louis area neighborhood is on the edge after an arrow was spotted lodged in between an exterior wall. The homeowner said that he heard the hit and filed a police report. The incident comes after other neighbors found arrows in their yards, in their homes in the recent weeks. Police say that their actively are investigating and note that illegal use of bow and arrows within the city. Okay, well, good. I'm glad that you're saying this. It's illegal to use bow and arrows within the city. Okay, I'm sure that the people that are going around shooting houses are truly concerned about that, that you brought that up. But think about the oddity here when it comes to this. You're going around and you see inside of a house or 2 or 3 or 25 that somebody has went ahead and decided to shoot it up with a bow and arrow. That should make some things a little bit interesting, that's for sure, as we are talking about this. What do you think? What do you think about it? Have you ever walked outside and saw a bow or an arrow inside of your house or anything near? I mean, I used to live out in Texas in the country many, many, many moons ago, and I had seen a lot of that stuff. Not that like people go around shooting it, but I've seen people doing archery and all that kind of fun stuff. Anyways, let's get into some other lighter side. I think we should get into some lighter side.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
So let's get charty-arty. Let's talk about some of that. Let's talk about the top 5 songs according to iTunes and Spotify. Coming in at number 5, according to iTunes, was Meghan Trainor, Made You Look. At number 4 was Plain White Tees with Hey There, Delilah. At number 3 was Luke Combs, Growing Up and Getting Old. Well, duh. At number 2 was Pink with Trust Fall. And at the number 1 spot was Miley Cyrus with Flowers. This is according to iTunes. If we look at the other side of the equation, we call that Spotify. It goes something like this. At number 5 was Metro Booming, Future, and Chris Brown with Superheroes. At number 4 was Drake and 21 Savage with Rich Flex. At number 3 was Metro Booming and The Weeknd and 21 Savage with Creepin'. At number 2 was ZA with Kill Bill. And at the number 1 spot, just like on iTunes, it was Miley Cyrus with Flowers. I'll tell you, if you take a listen to the song, it's not that the song's bad, but it reminds me a lot of a Bruno Mars song. You just have to go back and take a listen, and you'll realize that, hey, there is some similarities between las canciones. There is some similarities between the songs that are going on there. It's just the way that it goes. Anyways, let's get into this real quick. Let's bring in some John Smalls and let him tell you about what the hell is going on inside of the world of the market, because that's going to be important. I think it's going to be important.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Tuesday, January 31st, 2023. Equity markets began the week in retreat as investors brace for a big week of earnings, economic data, and the FOMC. This is the first hectic week of the earnings season and should see more than 100 reports from the S&P 500 companies cross the wire. The takeaway for the season so far is that earnings are weak and the outlook is souring. The economic data may not help. It should show continued strength in the labor market and rising wages to underpin inflation. The FOMC meeting is the big news of the week. The Fed will release its policy statement Wednesday and will most likely shock the market. The committee isn't likely to raise rates faster than 25 basis points, but it will most likely give a hawkish statement that leaves little room to doubt their seriousness. Anything less will give the market and the economy reason to accelerate, which could drive inflation to new heights. You can get the inside track from Wall Street's brightest minds delivered directly to your inbox every day at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, John Smalls, for the information, because, it's important to discuss the information about what the hell's going on, and, of course, you're always coming up with the stuff of what is happening. So, here's what I was able to find. The Dow lost about 260 points to close at 33,717 on Monday. The S&P lost about 52 points to close at 4,017, while the NASDAQ lost about 227 points to close at 11,393. West Texas Intermediate closed at $77 a barrel. Brent crude was at $84 a barrel, and the national average price of a gallon of gas was at $3.51 on Monday. Bitcoin tumbled a little bit on Monday, losing about $1,000 to trade around 22,700. And when I say a little, think that it's evaluated at $22,700 a coin currently. So that's a little bit of a tumble. There was more than 3,500 flights delayed into and out of the United States on Monday, with about 940 cancellations. So it definitely sounds like yesterday was not the day to travel, with everything going on. Anyway, so let's talk about this real quick. Tonight's Mega Million drawing will be for $31 million jackpot, or a $16.5 million cash payout. Got a friend who might, got a friend out there that might want to play with you in regards of doing the lottery. Go ahead and jump out there and see what the hell is going on. You might be able to play away together, because they say the more the group together to play these things, have a better chance. I don't know. I take a look at this and I'm going to tell you this. Some people have reached out and complained on how dare I, in regards of putting essentially the stuff that's going on with the lottery with harsh numbers, with real numbers. Well, I'm putting it out there because it's all numbers. Just be glad I'm not putting the weather there, talking about numbers as well. Think about how weird that would get. So let's talk about some other stuff that's going on inside of the world. Let's see. The migrant crisis in South Florida has caught the attention of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. Drake Thomas explains
Secretary Mayorkas says the federal government has already surged Coast Guard and Customs and Border Protection resources to address the recent influx.
We have seen too much tragedy when people take to the seas, and that is why we are so devoted to building lawful and safe pathways for them.
He pointed to the new parole process for Cubans, Haitians, Venezuelans, and Nicaraguans, announced on January 5th, and the re-implementation of the Migration Accords, which allows 20,000 visas per year. I'm Trey Thomas.
So what do you think the conversation at the water cooler is going to be today in regards to talking about this? I'm just asking because you know that some people are going to talk a lot about this, so I figure, hey, why not mention it while we're hanging out? Anyways, take a listen to this. The city of Detroit has $100 million in scholarships to be given out to people who want to learn new skills. Mayor Mike Duggan said last night to Learn to Earn scholarship program will pay people $10 an hour for as many as $20 a week to get their high school diploma, learn to read, and more.
Anybody who feels like you've been left behind, tonight is the night we're going to talk about scholarships for you.
The city will hire people full-time as an employee and working 3 days a week with park maintenance, door-to-door research, and neighborhood cleanups to take classes the other 2 days. Scholarships will be held on, scholarship fairs will be held on February the 2nd, 9th, 16th, and 22nd. The Detroit mayor also, Mike Duggan, says that people can get paid to learn new skills.
You can start this month and make $200 a week learning to read.
So there you go. It'll be interesting. So let me ask a question because this is going to sound very rude, but hey, I have to ask anyways. Is it a written form that they have to fill out in regards of getting the scholarship to learn how to read? Because that's going to make it really weird.
Who truly cares what this guy has to say? Who gives a shit? Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's talk about it. Let's move. Let's groove. Let's move forward. I think it's time because it is 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's close enough for government work for us to do that thing that we do, and we call that one the main story. So let's go ahead and do that.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So listen, I have to tell you, it is getting to that interesting time of where people start requesting some weird things. And we all get excited about doing stuff that might be a little bit out of the ordinary. And we all get excited about doing things that, can drive other things. But have you ever realized that it seems like larger companies ask you to do stuff sometimes that kind of sounds a little bit weird? And listen, I know there's events that are coming up and going around and going to happen in a few months and half a year and all that. But listen up. It's time to face the cold, hard truth. Speaking at free conferences, where they're not paying you is not going to make you popular at anytime soon, and it certainly will not make you rich. Sure, you'll get to stand up on stage and spout a few words and bask in the glow of the PowerPoint slides that you spent hours perfecting. I mean, I know people get all excited about that, but let's be real, you're not going to get rich off of that. And are you even going to become popular? Well, unless you're the keynote speaker at the world's largest conference and you're able to work your way up the ranks to become a household name, it is unlikely that you'll get more than a handful of followers on social media. I know, disappointing stuff to hear, but it's the reality of the things that happen inside of the industry. In fact, if you're lucky, you might get a retweet or two or a handful of people in your niche that start following you, but let's not get ahead of ourselves because that's probably going to be the highlight of this thing as the people that are putting on the event are getting money from sponsorships as you're out there sweating your balls off trying to get everything done, sweating out of every gland in your body in regards of doing everything. So why bother speaking at these conferences? Well, there's a few reasons, of course, that people automatically start thinking. For one, it's the great way to get your name out there and start building your personal brand. That's the big selling point. But let's be honest, you're not going to get rich off of that either. You might get a few more, followers, like I said earlier, in your social media platforms, but you might get a few leads for your business, but you're not going to get rich off of that either. And sometimes that becomes the big selling point from some of these conferences and all this. We're going to put you in front of so many people. We're going to have so many people. We're going to give you so much exposure. Let me explain something to you real quick. Every day, anytime that you do something, you have the potential of having exposure around 7 billion people. Seriously, think about it. Because there are 7 billion people plus on the planet. So yes, there is the potential of, does not mean that it's going to happen. So let's be realistic. Even if they got you in front of a good group of people and you started getting leads for your business or your personal brand, and even if you did all right, it's unlikely that you'll be able to sustain it. Speaking at a conference as a one-off event, unless you're able to continue to speak at these conferences and build the reputation for yourself, your moment of spotlight will be short-lived. I'm sorry, but it's just the reality of the scenario. So if you're looking to get rich and famous from speaking at conferences, you might want to save your energy and time. I mean, let's just be realistic. There are plenty of other ways to build your personal brand. There really is. The problem that we run into is that we all want, riches and glory, but I don't know if that's going to really be it. So speaking of free conference won't make you rich. But it can, be a fun and rewarding experience that you can talk to your friends about. I mean, that's of course. Just don't expect to become a millionaire or a social media sensation overnight. I know there's always these cool things to talk about, and people want to to brag about doing these things. But think about this: if the event organizers are telling you, here is some data, promote the event, we'll get you there for free, but that's only the ticket to get into the business, to get into the event. They're not paying for your hotel. They're not paying for your airfare. So in other words, you're not really a keynote speaker. What you are is somebody who is helping do marketing for the event as they're pocketing the money. Because what is the ticket that they're giving you to enter for free costing them? Well, they're going to do it as a write-off, but essentially it's costing them zero because it's made up. It's made up. It is made up. They have to attract people. So using your personal brand that you could be known for or not known for is going to play the factor into it. So with that being said, and if you are hanging out on the visual radio side of the equation, I can give you what we came up with. We have some signs if you don't want to speak at some of these free events that's available. And you can find it at safetyfm.com at I Am Not. If you look at the visual radio side, it is right there, right now. You can see it on the screen. So I am not speaking at. Don't join me. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to say about the whole thing. Listen, do whatever you want, but don't have the buy-in where people are telling you that you are going to become rich and famous and an overnight sensation in the field of safety because you spoke at their conference where they're going to give you all this exposure. Think about it. What are you really building there? What are you really building? Think about it. I know it's a community of practice. It's a community of doing things, but really, are you gaining speed or are you just kind of filling in to the money giant of what's going on? That's going to be something to think about. There is no doubt about it.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with Home Title Lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
Okay, men. This is your time. Maybe you didn't choose this, but you're here now. You're gonna go out there and be an all-star caregiver. It's up to you. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go grocery shopping, cook, clean, be there emotionally and physically. You gotta dig deeper. Drive them to physical therapy, doctor's appointments. Don't you forget about the pharmacy. No, you won't. Because that's what caregivers do. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. This is your time to show the world, your family, and yourself that you're tougher than tough. Now go out there and be the best caregiver this world has ever seen. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick and proud aunt. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing. But not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. 1 in 6. That little girl sitting alone at the playground, she can't play like the other kids. She doesn't have the energy because she's hungry. School lunch will be her only meal today. It breaks my heart that this is the reality in our country, but it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste. This food is then provided to families and children in need. Being a kid should be about using your imagination, learning, and having fun. These children shouldn't have to miss out on simply being a kid because they're hungry. To find out how you can help end childhood hunger in your community, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
In order to save the planet from cow farts, why doesn't someone just invent really large Gas X pills?
God, what's that awful stench? Radio.
Listen to our host
Of the Rated R Safety Show.
self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Of them all, who you living to impress? You don't really have nobody, they don't hear you when you speak. And this happiness is something that you'll never get to reach. While we do it to ourselves, maybe we can come together, share our struggles, keep it honest. I just know we can do better. We can listen to each other, take a step outside our minds. We can lift each other up and put an end to the lies. Hold up. I feel on my mind, I can't escape them, I can't escape them. I need new love.
Okay, you are still listening to the Rated R Safety Show. It is 44 minutes past the top of the hour. We are still hanging and banging here, doing all the fun stuff that we get to do. So, this little song right here, it's called Vise. Oh, how fitting. By Zach Baines. Songs readily available on Spotify and iTunes. If you want to give it a little downloads, a little streamer action, you just gotta find a problem. You got some choices there for sure. Okay, so thanks for Zach Baines for allowing us to play this here on the Rated Safety Show. So let's get back into it. Let's get back into the move and the groove of the things that are going on, because it is important to do that. It is important to talk so mucho about what is happening. But before I get into everything else that's going on in the world, let's talk about the most important portion that we can talk about, and that's about our friends at 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. They can help you prevent suicide. The Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people in distress, prevention, and crisis resources for you and the loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to 988lifeline.org. That's 988lifeline.org. You can text the word TALK to 988 or call 988. They'll get everything moving and grooving for you relatively quick if you're so inclined to do so. The other side of the equation is, texting the word TALK to 988, calling 988, or talking to someone even on their chat box. Listen, I know that times in life can be difficult. Life is not perfect. Life is not easy, and no one is saying that it is. And it's okay not to be okay. Seriously. Because, listen, just because there's shiny, happy people all around is not the story for all. It's not the story for some. And sometimes we have to adjust and adapt to the things that are going on. That's where 988 Lifeline comes in and helps. Seriously. So there you go. Take a look at it. Give it some thought. Give it some processing. Go from there. So let's talk about some other things that are going on today inside of the world, because we're going to talk about this. We are going to start talking about, this little conference, the Safety Differently workshop that's available, going on March 6th through the 9th in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah, Santa Fe, New Mexico. That's what's going on. So we're going to need to talk a little bit about this. If you are interested in joining us for the Safety Differently workshop, you can come hang out with us. All you have to do is go to safetyfm.io, safetyfm.io, or you can go to safetyfm.com and click on the section that says live events. Yes, no problem there. This will actually be hosted by Martha Acosta, Bob Edwards, Todd Conklin, Mark Yeston, and yours truly. That's not a person. I'm just saying me. So yeah, if you want to come and hang out and see what's going on inside of the world of HOP, there are still tickets available to be able to come out, hang out, in doing so. So there you go. Even though I can tell you tickets are low, I keep on getting people going, "Oh my God, it's out, it's sold out." No, yeah, tickets are low. There's still some available in some of the categories. So there you go. We'd love to see you there. Yeah. Hotel Santa Fe. Love to see you there. Come hang out and do all the fun stuff. That is for sure. Anyway, so let's start talking about this. We're getting more and more stuff that we're hearing about AI. Researchers from Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra say that computer algorithms are not only capable of telling how old someone is by their facial features, but it can also put a objective number on how many years a facelift can take off of their looks. In a study, they have found that AI systems identified each person before their age with 100% accuracy. As for the after photos, the AI concluded that a facelift takes off about 4.3 years off of someone's appearance. That's significantly lower than patients thought that surgeons' handiwork. Participants believe that facelifts took off between 6.7 years off of their age on average. If one facelift takes off 4 years off of your appearance, I'm pretty sure that would mean that Reba McEntire looks about 13. Not picking, just saying. Talking about some other AI as the ChatGPT craze continues to gather more and more speed. Some researchers are warning that artificial intelligence could someday go rogue, resulting in existential threat to humanity that might even cause the human to go extinct, and it needs to be regulated like a nuclear weapon if we were to survive. Michael Cohen's a doctoral student at Oxford, said that with superhuman AI, there is a particular risk that it is of a different sort of class, which is it could kill everyone. His colleague, Michael Osborne, who teaches the machine learning at the UK university, forecast that advanced AI could pose just as much of a risk as we pose with other species. The dodo is one example. Their fellow students reply, "Shut up, man," and these things can write an essay for us and then prompt to give us some wedgies. I don't know. Some things to think about. So what do you think about this AI craze that's going on with ChatGPT? I mean, if you haven't taken a look at it, it's definitely worth taking a look at. I'm not going to lie here. It might take you to places that could be interesting for you. There is no doubt about it. It seems like some people don't understand how to use it yet, but there is ways to use it. That is for sure. It's all about the prompts. It really is when you start thinking about it. But let's leave that conversation for another day. It almost seems that we're living in that world of, do androids dream of electric sheep? If you really think about it. Maybe Philip K. Dick knew some things that we didn't. Boy, is that another whole conversation to think about.
You are listening to something magical. You're listening to the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this real quick because we still got some time, so that's for sure. Let's bring in some John Small and let him tell you about what the hell's going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote was submitted by Kyle. Steve Jobs said, "The only way to do great work is to love what you do." I love that. I've always loved what I do. I've worked with people who have not. I've never understood that. Why would you put yourself through that each and every day? I think disliking a job is actually worse than hating a job. If you hate the job, you'll move on pretty quickly. But if you're indifferent and you kind of like it, but you kind of don't like it, you might actually retire from that soul-sucking job to realize you wasted much of your life on something you're not even passionate about. And why? Because they had good benefits? Everyone is different, but I'm the kind of guy who needs to love what I'm doing. It's pretty great. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by AlysaMorgan.com. When it comes to healthy aging, there is something that is crucially important to understand. One of the reasons people fall and break hips at an older age is because they don't have foot speed, meaning if they stub their toe on a corner or slip, they have to have the foot speed to be able to put the other foot in front of the other in proper position quickly. Then they have to use eccentric strength to stop that fall from happening. And that is why a workout routine has to incorporate exercises aimed at increasing both muscle power and speed. Many people shy away from exercises that utilize heavy weights, plyometrics, and explosive power, but that's exactly the type of workout that's going to keep you away from fragility and ensure healthy longevity. For more information on wellness, check out AlysaMorgan.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
There you go, Rated R Safety Show, 53 minutes past the top of the hour. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on. In the next few minutes, I will be going over to RadioBig.fm exclusively. So if you want to come up there, hang out, you're more than welcome on doing so. There is no problemo over there. If you want to keep it locked on Safety FM, no problem either. Let's see, because Sheldon Primus with the Safety Consultant Show will be coming up right after this show, if you're on Safety FM. And then before I forget, talking about Sheldon Primus real quick, tomorrow, I was actually honored to have been re-invited to go on the Safety Consultant Show hosted by Sheldon Primus. So if you want to take a listen, we take a dive into some other things that we've never dove into on that show previously, at least not with me. And we kind of go into this whole other realm of the consulting business. If you want to take a listen to it, it was a great time being able to hang out with Sheldon, even though it was in the virtual spectrum of the world. And apparently it's getting released on safetyconsultant.tv, or Safety Consultant TV, better saying as well. So there you go. If you want to see me, which I don't know why you would, but if you want to see him, I understand that. That makes sense. But that's some options for you, and that should be actually dropping at some point tomorrow. At least that's what I was told during the recording of it. How true it is? Well, we'll have to take Sheldon's word for it. That is for sure. Anyways, let's continue talking a little bit about some things that are going on inside of this worldo, because it's important to do that. So let's talk about some whack facts real quick. There are about 10 towns named Hollywood in the United States. It is illegal to purchase or consume Jack Daniel's whiskey in the town in which it was produced, which is Lynchburg, Tennessee. When tea was made available in bags, it was intended to be removed from the bags by the customer, and then, but they found that it was easier just to brew them without removing it. So that's how that happened. Cucumbers pressed to the roof of your mouth for 30 seconds can cure bad breath. Share that as much as you can. I think that one's going to be important. If you're over 100 years of age, there's an 80% chance that you're a woman. And white-faced cappuccino monkey greet, cappuccino, think about that, greet each other by sticking their fingers up each other's noses. Let's not go ahead and see each other then, if that's the case.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, talking about some things that happened back on this date. Let's talk about them real quick. Back in 2006, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sandra Day O'Connor retires. She was the first woman Supreme Court Justice. Samuel Alito takes her seat. That happened back in 2006. Taking a look around at some birthdays that are going on today. Here's a few of them for you real quick. Tyler Sagoon, 31. Tyler Hubbard, 36. Justin Timberlake turns 42 today. Minnie Driver turns 53. Jonathan Banks, 56. And Nolan Ryan turns 76 today. So there you go, some birthdays real quick. If you're looking at some days of the year to celebrate, it's National Hot Chocolate Day. Eat Brussels Sprouts Day. Hopefully not with the hot chocolate. National Plan Your Vacation Day. Scotch Tape Day. Brandy Alexander Day, Hell is Freezing Over Day, Appreciate Your Social Security Check Day. You should probably do that every day that you can. Let's see, National Backwards Day, Inspire Your Heart with Art Day, Inspire Your Heart with Art. Wow, little rhymey-imey there. And National Gorilla Suit Day. I'm not saying go out there and get a gorilla suit and wear that, because that's going to be weird. So there you go. If you need a random joke for today, try this. Be yourself. It's just about the worst advice you can give some people. I mean, think about it. If you need a phone starter, try this. What things that you said you'd never do and have you done? Think about it. Yep, too long of a list for us to discuss on this show. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 12% of single women say this is the number one deal breaker on a first date. What is it? Being picked up in a dirty or messy vehicle. So there you go. So just rent a car. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I can't even tell you when was the last time I dated. I mean, I date all the time because I'm with my wife, but that's probably about the only dating that I'm doing. So there you go. That's going to sum up our time together. Like I said, RadioBig.fm going up there in a little bit. But thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big. Because, listen, without you, it makes no sense to do the stuff that we do around here. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, like I said, go to the website if you are interested in the sign. I am not. That is readily available there for you. Also, if I can't leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this. One day or day one, you decide. That's always the important part when you think about it. Anyways, I know who you are.
Duh.
You know who I am. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.
Another lethal dose, get addicted to the pain. We get caught up in the web, get the